All right, welcome back to another episode of Medicine Mondays. Yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre. This is episode 349. Yes, 349 episodes later, we are here to bring you a discussion on are you mentally ready? Now, we talked about last week. If you have not caught last week's episode, make sure you do so. We talked about last week what's going to be our theme for the year. Like, what are we going to be talking about? Of course, still going to be talking about a lot of medical topics because, hey, you're watching a medical or listen to a medical related show. So why wouldn't you want to hear about the medical topics? But obviously making sure we're touching on different aspects of health, whether it be mental health, physical health, wellness health, spiritual health, nutritional health, all the types, even financial. I don't know how we'll fit it in, but like all types of categories of health that will eventually help someone empower themselves for better health. We're going to make sure we're touching on it. So because it's January, because it's the first of the year, I wanted to ask this question. Are you actually mentally ready to get healthy? And the reason why I ask this, because this is a process that as a physician, again, I've been out of residency since 2014, right? So I'm about to go 10 years out of residency, out of training. So 10 years as an attending, which is a long time, which is like senior citizen, quote unquote, per se, if you ask a medical student. But if you ask my older attendings, they'll look at me crazy. But 10 years of experience as a physician outside of the medical school, the residency training. And a question that I get a lot of various questions about medical related diseases and whatnot. But a question that seems to be an underlying theme is, hey, am I actually mentally ready to do the things I need to do to actually get healthier? Because I think when you ask someone, hey, January's coming around, New Year's resolutions coming around, especially if it happens to be health related, they will tell you that they want to do the things, right? They want to do the things that will make them healthier, that will help them lose weight, gain weight, get stronger, right? Get faster, right? Less medication. They want to do those things, have great blood pressure, have great blood sugar results. They want to do those things. So it's not like they do not want to do those things. But an underlying issue typically comes, there's always a reason why they can't do those things, or a underlying reason why they have not done those things already. I've been a champion, especially for these past few years, of getting away from the setup of the new year and waiting for the new year to want to try to change something. Because for a lot of us, the new year represents lots of different things. Obviously, it's a new calendar year. For a lot of people, they kind of hit the reset button and say, all right, all that stuff I did last year, that was either cool or uncool, but I got to do something different. I want to do something different. I have to do something different. They ask themselves that. I have to do something different. And what better time, because they always equate that there has to be a certain time frame to do it as the beginning of the year. Like, so what better time to do so? And we had Dr. Brad on. He's one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite episodes. I'll definitely have to link a couple of his episodes on here. He's been on here a couple of times. And he talked about how by the time March, April comes around, how many people are no longer doing the things they wanted to do in January. And I think it's sad, it's scary, but after 10 years of being outside as a physician, yeah, I can see it, right? Because what typically happens, the same people are saying the same things come December, January timeframe, and they're back here. So you're watching, you're listening to me, especially if this is your first time. Thank you, right? Make sure you subscribe or subscribe, like, however you're consuming this channel. I don't want you to take January as, okay, this is the year that I'm going to do something different, because you have to fundamentally ask that question that my attending used to always say. Hey, Dr. Cannon, love him. He said, the only question in medicine you should be asking is why. Why is something happening the way it is? So that's the question I'm going to pose to you as you're listening to this or watching me. Why is it that you want to make the change that you want to make? Because if you don't, and don't just say it verbally. Like, take some time, take a deep breath, get a pen, get a paper, get your iPad or whatever, and actually write it down. Why do I want to make this change? And when you answer that question, hopefully it's something that isn't going to be easily knocked off. Because what tends to happen is that a lot of times our why may be something, like, let's say I want to lose weight, right? For example, I'll put me in it, right? Because it's always easier to like get that example. I told myself, me and my wife, we say, hey, you know what? We are going to lose weight in the year 2024, right? Year 2024, we're going to lose weight. What's our why? What is the why that like drives me and my wife to want to lose weight? Well, there's a couple of reasons, right? Three reasons, right? We got 3 kids. We have 3 kids who we want to be around for as long as possible, as God is willing. As God is willing, I want to be here as long as possible. And I don't want any health-related concerns that may be associated with my weight to be the reason why we're not here as long as we can, right? So that's one, right? Because that for some people, you don't got kids. So I don't got kids. What is that going to do for me, right? Also from just a longevity standpoint, right? Like, hey, I want to kind of be here to enjoy some of the fruits of my labor. Like when you're going and you're schooling and you're doing all these things here, a lot of times you don't necessarily have the time to enjoy the work and the fruits, right? I want to be able to enjoy the fruits as well too, right? I want to be able to say like, all right, man, I'm so glad that I worked this hard. And because I worked this hard, I'm going to, take myself out, right? I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to buy this gift, whatever the thing is. But you can't enjoy it if you're not, as healthy as you can be. And we recognize, obviously, right, how many issues and concerns could be associated with, being overweight and continued overweight. Fortunately, we're still young, right? We're still young. So our bodies are still giving us the time to say, hey, you know what? Like, I'm going to give you some time right now, right? I'm not going to give you all of the other medical complications that you could have at your age. But I'm going to give you some time to try to do something about it, right? So we have some great motivating factors as we start the beginning of the year to say, hey, this is what I want to do by the end of the year. So we got that. So you have to ask yourself right now, take my example and say, all right, like I hear what Dr. Barry saying. He wants to lose weight. 1, he wants to be here for his kids. He wants to be here for himself, be here for his wife, right? He wants to enjoy his life, right? Selfish, like have a selfish, whatever the reason is. Have a good enough reason so that and I make sure I stress this, when the obstacle comes around that can get you in trouble, that can knock you off of your destination for whatever that thing is, lose weight, make more money, be more, spiritually healthy, right? Go to church, whatever the thing is. When that obstacle comes around, I can kind of trace back and say, all right, remember the why. Because if your why is not stronger than the reason why you want to make the change when that obstacle comes around, guess what? The obstacle is going to knock you down. And we expect a knockdown, right? Like it's one of those things where, yes, the obstacle may come. Yes, it may knock you down, but your why needs to be strong enough to get you back up. And I think a lot of times our why has to start up here. That's why I asked the question, right? The show is called, this week's show is called, like, are you actually mentally ready, right, to be more healthy? Because a lot of people will give this empty promise to themselves. It's an empty promise to themselves. They know it. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to make some more money, right? I want to get a better job, right? I want to be more, mentally fit, spiritually fit, financially fit, physically. I want to do all those things there, but they kind of tell to themselves. Maybe might tell someone else who's not going to necessarily hold them as accountable as they should. And then, when it doesn't happen, they're like, well, I didn't tell too many people, so I'm just gonna lie back. We don't want that. Right? So we want those who want to make the change to be as public with the change as they need to be. But you have to be mentally ready, right? You have to have, and I'm going to talk about a few things that I think will help you become mentally ready for the new year, because we don't know what the new year has in store. Again, God willing, I'm going to be here at the end of the new year. God willing. I don't know, right? Yeah, I'm a God-fearing person. I understand. When it's my time, it's my time. But God willing, I'm here at the end of the year. I want to be able to say I did all of the things I needed to do to get the goal. And I want to stress that. We'll talk about this towards the end when I talk about the goal, right? Because I think a lot of times our issue is that we're so focused on the end goal that we don't think about the processes leading up to said end goal. But we're going to talk about that. So one of the things that I feel needs to happen, right? If you are going to ask and answer the question of are you mentally fit to be healthy, is that you have to define what healthy is to you, right? That's, you got to start there. What is healthy to you? Like, what does that mean to be healthy to you? Now, again, obviously I want you to, have some sense of realism associated with it. Like, you may feel healthy being, 150 pounds heavier. You may feel healthy, but let's come on, come with me. Like, you got to follow me, right? When we go down this route, you may feel financially fit, but you got credit card statements out the wazoo, right? Like, you may feel spiritually fit, right? But there's a lot of stressors and outside pressures, and there's not a being or whatever your religious denomination is that you can rely on for support, right? Like, you may think those things, but I want you to be realistic when you're saying, all right, what is healthy? What would be the most ideal healthy self for me? Number two, and I talk about this, is the importance of having that support system to not only hold you up, but to hold you down when you're not being accountable. Like, someone has to be able to say, hey, Barry, like, you said that this year you're going to work on your weight. I don't really see you working out like that. Like, and I don't know, but I know that if you want to lose some weight, right, not only do you got to work out, but you got to eat better, right? So you need that person to kind of do those things to not only hold you up when, that obstacle comes around, but be able to call you out too. A lot of us are walking around people who don't do enough of the calling out. They watch us do the bad habits, have the bad habits, and then they just sit back and like, And then the second that end of the year comes around, they're like, well, you were doing this. Like, you didn't hold, like, please hold me accountable right then and there. Like, don't hold it to your spirit, right? So deciding what our healthy person is to us, what our healthy state is. That's one. Two, having that level of support system there. Three, defining, right? This is what I think is so important. Defining the task you would need to do to get there. Because a lot of times we may have this overarching goal, like, boom, I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to do the blank. But we can't even ask ourselves or even answer the question, what are the steps that's needed to get there? Like, so how would you possibly end up at a destination like that if you can't even think about the steps needed to get you to where you need to get to? Right? This is a question that we have to ask ourselves. And sometimes we need the support of others. Again, this is when I go back to number two, we may need it because maybe I don't know how to, be more financially fit, right? Maybe I don't know how to be more spiritually fit, right? Getting my nutrition on. Maybe I don't know these things, but someone has to know. That has to be in my circle, or I have to find them. Even if they're not in my immediate circle, I have to go find them. Someone has to do that. Because if you want to get to the end goal, you're going to need to know the steps to get there. So many people in the month of January will be like, this is what I want to do. And when you ask them, all right, how are you going to do that? Like, I don't know, doc. Yeah, I want to have great blood pressure. Oh, okay. What numbers did you want to get? Oh, I don't know, doc. Okay. All right. Good question. I want to make sure my blood sugar is controlled. Okay, great. What are your blood sugars now? Where do you want to get them to? I don't know, doc. Okay. All right. So define your goal. Make sure you got someone like me to be able to say, like, hey, this is what your goal is. And then have someone to be able to say, these are the steps that are needed. Because I think that 3-part foundation is so important. So important, because again, you are not going to have a successful 2024. Again, I'm not wishing a non-successful 2024 on anybody, but the likelihood that your 2024 is going to be a success, especially if you're saying, I want to do blank, I want to change this behavior, I want to change this habit. The likelihood of it being successful is if you have those 3 pillars as your foundation. Now, before I get out of here, I want to make sure I highlight a point, right? Because I think this is the one thing that gets a lot of my patients in trouble. A lot of my patients get in trouble because let's say they have this goal. I want to, get off my blood pressure medications. I want to get off all of my diabetic medications. I want to get off all my cholesterol medications. And then I say, okay, I received that. This is what I think you should do. And this is how I think you should do it. And realistically, because again, I'm all about the realism, right? If you've made, let's say $1,000 one year, the likelihood that you're going to make $1 million the next year is going to be low unless you have something that's drastic. So I want us to be realistic. Shoot for the stars. I don't want to kill no dreams. Shoot for the stars, but let's have some realism. Because if you are going for the stars and not having the steps and processes to get there, you are going to be frustrated that you don't get the goal. You're going to be frustrated. And that just is what it is. But the important thing that I want to make sure I tie in before we get out of here is that, yes, the goal is great. The goal is great. Having that goal, whatever that goal is for you, is amazing. But if you don't do the task, and if you aren't successful in doing the task, how could you possibly get that goal? And this is where the mind shift tends to occur. And this is where I think a lot of people get in trouble, is that their mindset and their mentality is so focused on the goal that they neglect the processes needed. Because the goal is just an end result of the processes that you had to do. So when you're thinking, hey, I want to lose weight, make more money, get off my medications, become more when you're thinking about those things here, if you're not thinking about, all right, to lose weight, I got to do A, B, C, and D. To make more money, I got to do A, B, C, and D, right? To be more, spiritually healthy and fit, I got to do A, B. If you're not thinking about A, B, C, and D, the goal is not happening. And we should not be putting our eggs in the basket of the goal. Our eggs should be focused on, and I love this because actually I read this book, 12 week year. Great book, I suggest. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. We cannot be so focused on the goal that we ignore the process. More importantly, we can also not be so focused on the goal that we don't celebrate the process. Everything should be about celebrating the process that will help get you to a goal. Now this is one thing I want you to get. The goal is not guaranteed. You are not guaranteed, even if you do process A, B, and C, and D, to lose weight. You are not guaranteed, even if you do process A, B, C, and D, right, to get off your medications. You are not guaranteed even if you do A, B, C, and D, right, to become more spiritually fit. Right? You are not guaranteed these things. The goal is never guaranteed. But what can be guaranteed is I'm going to do everything I can that the processes say I need to do. So when you make that mental shift, especially, we're going into 2024, and it could be, I'm hoping and sending well wishes that it's going to be the best year of your life. But when we are going and trying to think about these goals, our goals should never be all right, I get the goal or it was a failure. No. It should be, I did the process A, B, C, and D, right? And I am ecstatic that I was able to do process A, B, C, and D. And if the goal results from me doing A, B, C, and D, I'm even more happy. But my happiness isn't defined by whether me doing A, B, C, and D results in the goal. My happiness should be defined that because I did A, B, C, and D. Right? Whatever those steps are, 1 step, 3 steps, 10 steps, however many steps there are, the happiness and your goal for this year should not be, I want to try to get that end goal. No, it's I want to do every process needed to get to that end goal. Because I know if I do every process needed to get to that end goal, then I put myself in the best position to get there. That is the shift that I want for you guys in 24. Like I said, we're gonna have a great year this year. I'm so excited for the people who we're gonna be speaking to you guys. throughout the year. Obviously, we're going to have some old guests. We're going to have some new guests. But I think it's one of those things where I want to get us mentally like turned in a direction where whatever that end goal happens to be for you, you get there. But recognizing that the end goal is not your goal. It's making sure I can do process and steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because if I do process 1, 2, 3, and 4, I will put myself in the best position to get there. Right? If I know if I eat better, work out more, avoid the foods that have been bad for me, I put myself in the best position to lose weight. Not guaranteed that I lose weight, but if I do those things, the likelihood that I don't lose weight is going to be lower. It just is what it is. The likelihood that I don't do those things and that I succeed in my goal is going to be 0, right? If I don't do those things, if I don't eat better, work out more, avoid the terrible, if I don't do those things, guess what? The likelihood that I still get to that goal is very low, maybe 0. But if I do those things, and again, ask yourself that question and make sure you're writing it down, right? I told you this year, I'm going to be giving y'all work to do. Y'all, this is going to be an active participation, right? When you watch this show here. If you do the things that you need to do from a process related standpoint, whatever that process is, remember, talk to your support team, talk to the people in your circle, talk to someone who's maybe already done it and now you want to kind of follow their footsteps. Talk to someone. Right, get help. Get your doctor. Go to your doctor. Pester them. Say, hey, before I leave, you want me to lose some weight? Tell me how to do it. Yeah, doc, you want my blood pressure to be controlled? Tell me how to do it. Tell me the steps so I can do those steps. Don't just tell me, hey, your blood pressure need to be better. Your diabetes need to be under control. Your cholesterol need to be. Don't just tell me those things, doc, without telling me the steps that I need to do to try to be successful. So that's what I'm hoping we're grabbing from this week. And I'm very excited. Hope you guys check in next week. We're gonna have a nice little great conversation, right? Nice little great conversation. We're gonna have an old guest on here. But you love her, right? Old guest on here, but you love her. We're gonna be talking about the Autism in Black Conference, right? So very excited about that, and very excited to be a part of another year at Autism Black Conference, right? So again, remember, you guys subscribe. Just do one thing, right? I don't want you to do 10 things. Just subscribe. Everything else we'll take care of the rest on a further show. Just subscribe. Press that subscribe button. If you listen to me on the podcast, shout out to you guys. Right? Make sure you subscribe, whether it's Spotify, Apple, whatever Google, Android type program you might be using, whatever that is, do that. And we'll check you guys out next week.